Hello, everybody. Drew here. Tip of the Mint Flips. I'm a stay-at-home dad and a part-time eBay reseller. And every OneHub subscribers, there is a giveaway. And there is a giveaway in the next video. I haven't selected the winner yet. So if you haven't gotten entered, make sure that you go back to the last video and get yourself entered quickly. I will be doing that. The video will come out Wednesday, but I will be doing the drawing tomorrow, filming the drawing tomorrow. So you still have a little bit of time. Eric D, if you ain't first, you're last. So I guess you're first. What's up, Eric D? Rolling with the Stones. How's it going? Today, I have the topic of I listened to the entirety of the eBay Q3 earnings call plus all the questions. It was like 2 hours. Ridiculous. I'll never do that again. I mean, I'll do it again, but I won't do it live. I'll just wait till the recording comes out and I can listen to it on like 1.5 speed and skip through the parts where there's just nothingness. It was just a lot of time, especially when you're trying to stay focused and like actually listen. I would just catch myself just blanking out and be like, oh, I have no clue what they just talked about for the last 30 seconds. But I have notes and notes and notes because some of the stuff I was like, okay, yeah, I figured that. And some of it was kind of eye-opening. Fart Sack Jack, flip of the Mitt tips. How's it going, Fart Sack? So I'll start going over these in no particular order. And if you have any comments to chime in with, thoughts, and if you have questions that aren't related at all, throw those in anyways. I will gladly answer those to the best of my ability. I'm usually here. The lives, I think I'm usually here just to hang out. I want to have a topic because, you know, the video comes out the next day or late, actually, immediately after, and people watch it the next day. And I don't want it to just be me jibber jabbing about D&D for 2 hours, even though I would like to do that. So the topic this time is actually pretty lengthy. I didn't have as much time as I'd like to get it together, so I'll do my best. Stick with me. Farsag Jack, it's going pretty good. It is going pretty good. The sales seem to be picking up. And Andy Someta, how you doing? And the boat parts are going much better than I expected. So I'm trying to list those as fast as possible. So the first thing, this part, I guess I'll start with this because this was funny to me. If nobody's ever listened to an earnings call, basically the company says how it went. They tell you the numbers, and then they do their forward projections, how they think the next quarter is going to go, what their plan is. And then afterwards, shareholders can chime in and ask questions. Shareholders, I don't even think you have to be a shareholder. I think you can be a reporter or anything like that. Let's see. Farsight Jack, I turned off all promotions. I've had more sales than before. Weird. That I also am done with promotions. That is part of what I came to. I guess I'll skip to that part. Let's see, where we actually no, let me go with the funny part. I'll go in order so I don't get confused. But one of the questions they asked specifically about Temu and how if they're worried about like a market share portion disappearing to other platforms. And Temu was the only name specifically named, but they meant other up and coming platforms in general. And I don't remember who, it was either the CEO or the something. There was two guys there. I don't know which one was talking at what time, which one of them was British, one of them was not. I don't know what their jobs are. But the guy that answered, he said that competitors are not an issue, and he chuckled. He found it funny that they asked if eBay was worried about other competitors. Because I get that question all the time. Like, do you think Macari is going to come up and whatnot and all these things that pop up? No. Do you know how long it would take for one of these smaller competitors to catch up to the market share of eBay? Would take a decade. It's not something that could happen overnight. And So I always dismiss it as like, yeah, if you, specific ones, if you're in a niche, like if you sell vinyl, there's ones that are specific for vinyl. If you sell clothing, that does better on like, I don't know, Depop, Poshmark. I'm not really sure because I don't use those other ones. But I might be reading into it, but I heard him under his breath chuckle at the thought of any other platform up and coming and taking part of the market share, which is what I always thought. Because that's just the amount of growth you would have would be exponential for years to just catch up. Let's see. FJ Treasures in the house. How's it going? If you guys aren't following FJ Treasures, go check out their channel. If you've ever questioned if American Bubble Boy is the best bubble wrap, go watch their bubble wrap video. They did mention that they are, and I've kind of seen the writing on the wall from a couple other large YouTube channels that have had some interactions. I won't go into that because some people get real mad about, I don't know. I just won't go into it. But they are getting away from low average sale price items. They don't want the online garage sale. They don't want the general gist of what I got from what they were saying is they don't want eBay to be the platform that we want eBay to be. They have no desire to go back to how it was. They have no desire for it to be a marketplace for us to do what we do. They don't want that. That is not on their list of things to accomplish. I don't think they're going to actively fight against it. They'll still allow, what to sell whatever. They don't want to like limit the stuff on their platform because they still make the fees, but they are in no way going to help me and you be an online garage sale. That's my words, not theirs, but they did mention that they are getting away from low average sale price. They don't want it. This one was a two-parter. Let's see. Can't even read my own notes. Oh, this is why I, during the call, went and turned my promoted listings off. And I will not turn them back on. I will never do a single percentage for the rest of my resale career. I won't do it. Their revenue was largely, and the largest contributor to the growth of their revenue was promoted listing adoption and optimization. And in my opinion, what optimization means, convincing you to use it. Not optimization like it makes it better for you. Optimization as in I are the product. The stuff on their platform is not the product. We are the product. They are trying to optimize us, not the listings. Yeah, that's why I quit notes and I always forget them anyway. Yeah, I mean, you don't see them, but I got notes on notes on notes on notes, and then periodically I will go through them and go, okay, this is a completed all of these things. Let me cross it off so I don't look at it again. Because I don't like to waste paper. That's my other problem. So I end up writing a miniature note in the corner of a paper that's completely useless. That I have notepads everywhere. I don't know why I would not just use them. Let's see. What else did they go over? Oh, yes. This part was actually something I hadn't heard before. Let's see. Revenue driven and promoted. Large listing optimization. Yes, they have their focused categories is what they call it. So the guaranteed fit parts program, which now that I have all those boat parts, I am a part of that. So I'll see how that ends up. I've heard you end up with a lot of returns, but if I do my job properly and make sure I put as many details, I think I can mitigate most of that. But I don't want to go into a bunch of details about the boat buy because there was actually more to it. To give a little hint, there was a second buy, but because that video will come out maybe this week, but probably next week. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. But there's like the what are they? The authenticity program with the shoes, the vault program with the cards, the authenticity with watches and purses. They are going to continue that with new focused categories. They did not mention what the categories will be, but they are going to add new categories, which they are calling focused categories. And the best way to know, and those are the that's the thing I got from it, where they're never going to be like, oh yeah, Drew, sell whatever you want. They want to dictate what I'm selling. So I'm going to try my best to sell those things. Can I get high-end purses? No. Can I get high-end watches? No. Do I have like 200 watches to test and put new batteries in and list? Yes. So I'm hoping that because they're doing targeted marketing for categories, because they're promoting the program for authenticated shoes. So you'll see the commercial for authenticated shoes on eBay. But what that also, in my opinion, is going to do is drive general shoe shopping traffic to eBay. When they do the eBay guaranteed fit motor parts, that's going to just put general traffic for motor parts to eBay. So if they put out a commercial promoting a program that sells a specific thing, I don't think I have to be in the high-end category. I just need to be in more of that category. So the boat parts are really going to help that. So if you see one pop up where, hey, here's our new focused category, or you see a commercial where like, check out the authentication on whatever randomness they pick, try to find that item. That's my suggestion. That's what I'm going to try to do. I can't do that constantly. So of course I'll have to fill in with whatever I buy. And it's still the best place to buy rare antiquities and stuff like that. So it's not like it's a complete on-off faucet, but I'm just trying to change my mindset to go, okay, they don't want me to have my store the way I want to run my store. So let me not fight that. Let me try my best to go with it. But promoted listings for me is done. They are not sucking another dollar out of me because they don't care. They actually, it sounded in the earnings call like they actually don't care if we sell things. They're investing. That's another one of my points in here. They're investing heavily into advertising. They want most of their revenue to come from advertising dollars. They I can't remember what was the name of the company. I got a picture of it here. Like Adventini or something like that. Adavinta. It's a European company that they own 33% of right now. And it's just a company that is a advertising mediary between small marketplaces and customers. And eBay now owns 33% of that. So they really, their goal is not to be the platform we want it to be. They made that very clear. Something I did do is because their forward guidance was bad, which forward guidance is what they project the next quarterly earnings are going to be or what they plan. Their quarterly guidance was real bad. Their forward guidance, real bad. So the stock took a tank, and I bought a bunch of it because as far as a company that I'm happy with the way they're running it, no, definitely not. Definitely not going to happen. Never going to happen. As far as a company that's going to make money, yes, I think that's 100% going to happen. So I bought a bunch of the stock. Let me do a little catch up. I had a late night coffee and now, an evening coffee, and now I'm talking too fast. Fartsack Jack, 3 million, $4 to $12 sales add up. eBay is stupid. Yeah, I understand why they don't want tens of thousands, but probably closer to hundreds of thousands of items on the platform that just have no chance of selling. That I could understand, like, get rid of it. But the easy fix for that is take away fees, go back to individual listing fees. If you have to pay for every listing you put up, you're never going to put up garbage. And if you do, you're going to run out of money and then you won't be on the platform anymore. That easy fix. I don't, that's, LG, hi, finally caught the live. I never bought into the promotional listing because deep down I always thought it was shady. Yeah, it is. And I literally, had 15 minutes just sitting here. I just watched a video where another reseller, I won't drop a name because I don't want to be that guy. He was talking about how to better watch your metrics on how well your promoted's doing and how much you should promote. And I think he does like 10% promoted on most of his stuff. Like, what insanity is that? Like, just no, not a chance. Not happening. Never doing it again. No. FJ Treasures, they don't want to pay the overhead, customer service reps, transaction fees to credit card companies, server space for $5 to $10 records, Tupperware, etc. Yeah, I understand that. That makes sense to me. Now, if it's a $9.99 free shipping item and it sells in 24 hours, they should be happy with that type of turnover. That's, kind of more like Amazon, I don't think minds. But they were very, without saying it, they were saying it. They're very open about the fact that the eBay you have loved is no more. It's done. And they could have been saying this for years. This was the first one I sat through the whole thing. Usually I just wait till somebody comes out with a YouTube video and gives me a synopsis. But they were saying it without saying it. Fartsack Jack, glad the boat parts are going. I love selling new stuff. Yeah, because I'm hoping it projects out because I have a certain amount listed, a certain percentage is selling. So if that goes out over the possible 2,000 SKU items, it's a total estimate, but that's roughly how many I think I'm going to end up with, 2,000 new SKU numbers. If it projects out to that, I'm going to be shipping daily and shipping daily a lot. So I hope that works out. If not, it's probably going to be the best buy I've ever had. FJ Treasures, paying a customer service rep 15 to 20 an hour to answer questions, complaints, and someone calling about a $10 return. So, yeah, and their customer service is never going to bounce back. It's never going to be good like it was. The benefits aren't there for them. Why would they care if we as a seller are disgruntled with a transaction? They're getting paid either way. They don't need to solve our problems. They're going to do okay if we have a bad day. I don't know who would be, but whoever's the biggest seller in the chat right now, still a minute fraction of a percent of what they do. They don't care about any of us specifically. And it looks like they don't care about any of us at all. They care about ad revenue dollars. They care about nickeling and diming, sucking out fees and all that kind of stuff, adding new programs. Here was one I found it funny, but because I called this when they added the program, when they added the vault for cards, which you don't know, it's you send your collection, and I think they only do graded, but you send your collection and they hold it. So, and this isn't a new concept. ComC does this where your stuff can be for sale or not for sale, and they hold it, and then the item can switch hands 4 or 5 times between people in the vault, and it never has to get shipped, but you hold ownership over it. So you don't have to pay shipping on the item until you decide, hey, I want my collection back. But eBay still gets their fees on every transaction back and forth, even if the item never leaves eBay's hands. And so they kept talking about their assets under management. And I totally called this. If I knew which video, I would tag it at the end of this one because I called it. It's a good way for them to inflate how much money they are making because they have assets under management, which they do not own. They're just holding them and storing them. But on the books, it looks like they have more money. And technically they do because they are holding it, but it just boosts the perceived value of the company, and that's it. Now, let me see if I got all my points here, and then we can go on to some. If anybody has questions, comments, throw them in the chat. Tell me how your sales week's going. My weekend was great. I had a bounce back weekend. It wasn't a lot of dollars, but it was like 24 items, and I had been getting weekends with like 5 sales. So it felt good to have to actually put in a couple hours of shipping. Oh, here was a big one. The stock tanked because they were very down on what they think is going to happen going forward, the macro environment of shopping. And if somebody knows, it's platforms like eBay. They have every metric available to them and professionals looking at it all the time, instantaneously. Like, you know how your sales are going. I know how my sales are going. They know how everyone's sales are going. They don't have to take it from like a YouTuber who randomly has a certain amount of, you go through a comment section or whatever, and you can get an idea. They know 100% every single person how it's going. And they said that they've noticed that the market since September has been softening. They like to use keywords that sound better than what it is, but anybody listening with a brain knows what that means, that the market has been softening and that we should expect a muted holiday season. So not only has it been bad, they are expecting it to continue to be bad. That's why the stock tanked. It bounced right back to where it was, but that's why it fell off, is because they said expect it to still be bad through the holiday season. So expect it. They're telling you to, so expect it. To those having great sales, congrats. If you're having a good fourth quarter, One Foot's not in the chat. He might pop in at some point. He's been to every live yet, but he said he's been having a fantastic year and a wonderful fourth quarter. That ain't most. That's non-typical. Let's see. I covered that one. And then this is more for people that want to own the stock or do any type of investing. They had last quarter authorized stock buybacks, and they're going to start implementing those, I think, in this quarter. I think I missed when they said they were going to, or they didn't say it. I'm not sure which one, because I did fade in and out because it is so boring, so boring to listen to. They take too long to say something. But they did authorize stock buybacks, which means that's good for people who own the stock already or own it before they do stock buybacks. But beyond that, this was me listening to it just in disbelief, which I shouldn't have been in disbelief. It's exactly what they've been saying this for months, for years. They've been saying the eBay you want eBay to be doesn't exist. It's gone. Forget it. Let's see. Thea says, hi, Dad. Oh, hi, Thea. Hi, Michael. Cadence. They probably watched for 30 seconds. They're probably not there. Kathy Black, how you doing? Fart Sack Jack. Sounds like what Crazy Eddie did, only with empty TV boxes. BK Justice. How do you do, Drew? I am good. Popped in, but only have 10 minutes. The lives are good. Appreciate it, BK Justice. Appreciate you stopping in, even only for a couple minutes. So yeah, if anybody has questions, comments, thoughts, go ahead and drop those in the feed. If not, I will end up cutting this a little short because, like always, I have more things to do and I didn't eat dinner yet. Oh, but here's a little tidbit. If you haven't been following the up and coming price increases, this will be actually in next video. But since you guys are here, it's important news. I also switched my because I've been, like you guys have seen, I've been tinkering, I've been trying everything. I'm going to figure it out, and I think I'm starting to get some returns on the investment in trying to figure things out that I've been doing for the last couple weeks, 3 weeks, month, whatever it's been. The shipping prices are changing, and so I did again go back and make ground advantage on my stuff that I would normally ship USPS. I made ground advantage my first option and USPS priority my second option because priority mail flat rate is going up 6%. I use flat rate almost never. See, weight-based priority mail, and these are numbers I got from Pirate Ship. I think I also got a similar email from eBay, but I think I deleted it. So their numbers and price increases and decreases, which sometimes there are decreases, which there's one here. They're usually similar. So the information is still good across both platforms. Weight-based priority mail is going up 10% in zones 1 through 4. Dimension-based priority cubic is going up 23% in zones 1 through 4 for tiers 0.4 and 0.5. So I don't know what that means. 0.4 tiers 0.4 and 0.5. It's not explained in the email. I couldn't find anything on it. But I guess they do continue to explain it here. I guess I could just continue to read it. So the largest package sizes for the service are getting more expensive in the lowest zones. And then here was the big one. Ground advantage is decreasing 16% in zones 1 through 5, depending on package size and weight. So for me, that was a big indicator. Okay, let's go ahead and front run that. And so I went to my seller hub, went to my business policies, went to my shipping policies, and just rotated and put ground advantage back on top. And it's not always the cheapest. 2 items today, they sold with the ground advantage because that's the number 1 option, and priority mail was still cheaper. It does happen. The discount, I think, on eBay is deeper for priority mail than it is for ground advantage. So sometimes that makes the numbers a little hibbity-dibbity. So you still always want to check. You always want your cheapest option. But just a thought for everybody, maybe get ahead of that and consider it at least. And for me, I have boxes on hand, and I figured out the one size I need, and I need to have just some on hand, and then I'll be covered across the board, is I need garment boxes, because I just found myself upgrading to priority on everything that went in one of those, because to resize like a Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's medium box down to this big, $1.50 box, that's such a waste of a box. So I need to order some of those. Eric D, I have a question for a potential video or what have you. How do you set up your store? Example, categories, etc. I will write that on the list. Store set up. And once once the boat parts are done, that's when I will be able to get to all these dedicated videos. But until then, I skipped filming one day. I didn't put out my normal. I don't think I put out a video Wednesday last week. I definitely didn't put out my Friday video. It has to be my number one priority. And lives, I just sit here and talk. I don't have to edit or anything. So they only take the amount of time that I'm here, which this is my time I'm down anyways. But I will get to those as soon as the boat parts are done. But those have to get up. I really need to power through those the best I can. But with categories, like store categories, I don't set those up at all. It would be very useful if I did for running category specific sales, but I just don't do it. I don't. I mean, I know how to do it, so I can make a video on how to do it, but I don't set them up. BK Justice figures zones 5 would get hit with something. Yeah, I'm not. I think I've landed on StreamYard as the streaming service I'm going to start using, but I haven't actually done it yet because because right now would be a great time. I could pull up a zone map. Dark Toy Lord, sorry I'm late. Hey, late, early, never. It's all good. I appreciate it though. Thanks for coming. Visitor, what size box do you use for comic books? I actually have never sold a comic book. But if I did, I would probably, because I have them on hand, I would probably just resize my vinyl mailers because it would be the easiest thing to do. I could just, because a vinyl mailer, if you don't know what it looks like, it basically looks like a cross when it's laid out flat. And I could just cut, I'm showing you on the table like you can see, it's a T. Okay, it's a T. And I could just cut the corners in further and it would fold smaller just because I have those on hand. If the comic books are worth enough money, Gemini comic mailers is the best option, but they're so expensive. Like insanely expensive. So unless they're high end, it's not really worth it. But you can just take flat pieces of cardboard and you cut them into a T, the appropriate size, and then you just flop, 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 flop. It's perfect. It's time consuming. So for someone, if you're doing volume, it's not worth it. That's why I ended up buying vinyl mailers because I did it a couple times for a couple books. I did it a couple times for a couple of records, but it's time consuming to cut out each one of the T's and all that kind of stuff. But just for every once in a while, you just you put the whatever you need, the size in the center, and then you cut tabs from each side, and then you fold each tab in, and it makes a perfect flat box, and it will ship great. You could also just bag and board them and put them in a poly mailer. That's probably also for, especially for cheaper ones, just put it in a poly bag. Cause that's what I do with like my thin books. If I have something around that's not going to make my camera move. Watch out, Blackbeard. Ugh. Something like this, where it's just a real thin book and I don't want it to, get bent or creased. I'll just put it in a poly bag and then I'll cut a piece of cardboard the same size. I'll, not trace it because you want to get pen on it, but I'll estimate because if it's a little bigger, it's okay. But I'll just slide a piece of cardboard that's the same size in the poly bag. And which actually, since I have this in my hand, look out for this cookbook. It's like $14.99 free shipping. And there's multiple versions. So there's a little bolo for you, a little bonus bolo. Good morning, Venezuela. What is an earnings report? Earnings report is the reported earnings of publicly traded companies. So quarterly, every company that is public, so traded on the any stock exchange, but the U.S. stock exchange, the only ones I care about, they have to tell you money they lost, money they made, and usually they'll give some forward guidance to what they think next quarter is going to be, and that'll kind of dictate. It'll dictate how well the stock does in the immediate time. It's not till the quarterly comes out, and that kind of tells you, oh, okay, that's what happened. Stock goes up or down. But the forward guidance, they'll say, oh, okay, well, we think this is going to happen. We plan on doing a dividend increase, or we plan on, we're going to acquire this company, or we're going to spend some money here, or this program we're working on should be making us money by next quarter, that kind of stuff. But all that comes out in the earnings report, and those are done quarterly by every single company that is publicly traded. And if you weren't here for that part, the forward guidance for eBay was bad. To quote them directly, the macro market environment since September has been softening, and that we should expect a muted holiday season. They expect it to be bad. And how can you, this is the thing, how it's hard to compete, which I don't know if anybody got on the early Black Friday Walmart sales. I got a 50-inch TV for $150 shipped, free shipping, $150. I mean, I was getting free shipping Christmas toys. Well, hopefully my kids aren't still watching. Free for cheap. In case they're still watching, I won't say how cheap, but there was some deals that are shockingly cheap, because there was such an influx of merchandise because everything was going to the moon forever, and now they have to unload this stuff. And when you're trying to compete with Walmart and Amazon and big retailers that are also hurting, they can take a loss. They have to sell their things. So if they have to sell their stuff at a loss just to clear the space and get the money back, that's for sure a thing. They don't have to think about it. We got too many of these TVs, clear them out, $150 a pop, free shipping. You can't compete with that. So it's a daunting task. It's a doable task. I wish the best to everyone. I hope we all have a fantastic rest of our fourth quarter. But I've been saying for months, I don't think it's going to happen. Let's see. Gil, I have a super noob. When I put product dimensions in eBay, but I ship it in a bigger box and make it more heavy for shipping supplies such as padding, how do I pay for that increase and not the buyer? Well, I mean, when you go to pay for, so you're saying you are weighing and measuring the product and putting that in, and then you don't want the buyer to pay for the shipping supplies and the added weight? Because if not, you should be charging your buyer for every amount of shipping you have to pay for, all the products, all of it. What I do is I say the item is, I don't know, say it's 12 by 12 by 12, just to be simple. And it's going to take a minimal amount of packing. I'm going to put in the dimensions of 14 by 14 by 14 or 13 by 13 by 13. I'm going to round up. If it's 2 pounds and 8 ounces, I'm going to say it's 3 pound, 1 ounce, because when I go to pack it, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be so close after a box and pack material. I don't want to get stuck with that extra money. And if it ends up not costing much, kudos to me. I made extra money. And to anybody who disagrees with that, poo-poo on you. I get so much flack for not giving when I make extra money on shipping because I shipped it for less money and not giving that to the buyer. I've gotten more flack on that than anything ever. And I say ridiculous things sometimes. So you are in the business of making money. Do not, please, Gil, clarify if I'm answering a question wrong or I'm on the wrong, if I'm heading down the wrong path here. But do not cover the costs of things for your buyer. It's bake it into the shipping cost, and if you have to, reduce the price of the item to make that overall perceived value of the item, shipping and item, together, whatever that overall perceived value, that's the number you should be concerned with. And then from that number, you subtract your estimated shipping costs, which you can overestimate. And then you just subtract it from that overall value. And then if you make more money on the shipping, that's great. You still ended up with that overall perceived value of the item. Shipping is not separate from the cost of the item. Those are one and the same. Taxes, that's a little different because that's not us dealing with it. That's just kind of a bonus that gets added on for the buyers. Fart Sack Jack, I've used 33 mailers for a lot of stuff. Big stickers. What are 33 mailers? I'm not sure what that is. Carrie Gil Martin, I bag and board the comic and sandwich the comic in 2 cardboard pieces and put it in a padded envelope. Yeah, you can. Sandwiches. Yeah, Eric. I also am a little hungry. But yeah, that's actually a great way. If it's not high end and the customer isn't going to be disappointed with that type of packing, that's a perfect way to do it. And I say this all the time. Sometimes the value of the item, in my opinion, dictates you pack it a little better because you want to give a feeling of comfort. You want to give that aha moment to a buyer. And sometimes I'll pay a little extra on the shipping to put something in a box because it was a expensive item that I want them to go, ooh, wow, they took care in this. I like this seller. Maybe they have more of these things, that kind of thing. But in general, that's as long as it arrives safely, buyers do. If it arrives on time and safely, they don't really care what it looks like. Except for, I think back to I think this, I wouldn't say daily, but weekly. It was my first big sale. It was which I've sold a second one since then. But it was one of those vintage spice racks from like the 60s ish, where it'll have like on the front is like a spice instructional, spice suggestions, like this goes good with poultry and this spice. And then you open the door and there's all the spice rack and it's a wooden case and like I think it's supposed to be white, but everyone I've seen is like a dingy yellow because it's been in a kitchen for 30 years. But it was very big. It was probably, 2 foot by 2 foot or something like that by 6 inches. And I had to build a box and I wasn't very comfortable with building the box. And it was an ugly box. It was the worst box I think I've ever done. And it got there on time. It got there safely. They did not care one bit that it arrived safely in the condition and all that stuff. They left me negative feedback because it had a spider in it. A spider. Which could have came from their front porch. It could have came from literally anywhere. It probably came from my garage. My garage is full of spiders. My house is full of spiders. I like spiders because we don't have nasty poisonous ones, so they don't bother me. But they were furious that it had a spider in the box. I was like, this is when I was like, okay, I'm built for this. I just responded, glad to hear your package arrived safely. And that was it. And I went on with my day. I didn't let it bother me, but I guess it did let it bother me because I think about it weekly. Mm-hmm. Oh, you got that cookbook? Dad dropped it off. He said he had him sitting around, so he's a liar. And he's so meta. Hey, careful! There might be somebody scared of spiders out there. Yeah, Dark Toilet. Bonus spider. Who's mad about a bonus spider? Only like half the population is terrified of spiders, including like all the people in my house, except for my toddler, because she ain't scared of nothing. Eric D, send a return label for the spider. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. That was supposed to go to somebody else. Could you possibly send that back to me? But look out for those though. Those vintage spice racks. Again, if I had a dual screen capability, I'd show it. But I've sold 2 of those, and I want to say it was $150 or something. And I would be much more comfortable shipping it now than I was back then. You want to say hi, Blackbeard? You want to say hi, big boy? Uh-oh, you guys got to see the dirty room. Say hello, Blackbeard. Okay, say goodbye, Blackbeard. Carrie Gilmartin. When I sell vintage Christmas ornaments, I replace all the tissue the ornaments are wrapped in, and I clean out the needles of Christmas past. Yeah, that's a good idea. Because as a buyer, I'm not. It's not like I'm going to leave a bad review, or it's not like I'm going to even message the seller if they use like obviously old, like, sometimes like the real old white tissue paper it'll like yellow, but only like you unfold it and only some parts will be yellow. Like it's clearly old and used and better. I'm not a fan if I get sent something and it has it, or even worse, it's like I've had some bad stuff. Using grocery bags as packing material. I, as a buyer, can't stand that. It's because I package items well and carefully, but I, as a buyer, hate it so much. But I wouldn't go as far as to even mention it to them. I would just open it and go, ugh, ugh, ugh. Just grumble about it. But yeah, that's a great idea. Knock the pine needles out. Gil, sorry I was driving and asked using speech to text, but that's what I started doing, increasing size and weight to make something on shipping. But what if I underestimate and don't want the buyer to pay? Oh, if you underestimate, you're just gonna have to pay for it. That when you go to pay for it, I mean, they've already paid whatever they're going to pay. They've paid for the price of the item and the shipping on the item, and say they paid $12 and the shipping ends up $15. That's coming out of your pocket. That's why overestimating, and especially when you're first starting, I used to way overestimate. I would add multiple inches on each dimension. I would skip up to the next pound on every single item and then subtract that difference from the price. And then if I made it back by not getting into that next poundage, it was good, bonus me, great. I still get the same amount of money, but at least I don't end up losing money. And then the better you get at estimating, the better you get at knowing how much pack material, knowing how much a box weighs, knowing and all that kinds of stuff, then you can scale back how much you overestimate on your shipping. And even when another thing you do when you're starting out, weigh the stuff. I mean, before you're going, figure out what size box you think you're going to use, how many wraps of bubble wrap or tissue paper or paper, whatever you're going to use, throw them on the scale. See how much weight that's actually going to be until you get a better idea and you get more comfortable about it, and you can just do it second nature. And that's also why I really enjoyed switching to small items that I would do, which previously was first class free shipping, but now ground advantage under a pound, I still do free shipping, which I don't know if I'm going to continue doing. I don't think I'm going to change the listings I already have up, but I might stop doing free shipping on anything. I'm mulling it around. I don't want to go into that, but I'm mulling that around. But that's why I love doing first class free shippers, because as long as it hits under a pound, my overall perceived value, it didn't matter what I put in for the weight, because I would just put in, 15 ounces, 888, move on to the next item, 15 ounces, 888. And then when I go to ship it, if it ends up 4 ounces and 10 by 8 by 1, then I would figure out whatever the price was when I put in my measurements and buy that label. But it just made it a lot easier, the listing process, because I didn't have to think about it. I just put it in and move on to the next thing. I didn't have to actually weigh the item for 90% of them, because you pick something up, you're like, oh, this does not weigh more than a pound. And if it's close, you'd be like, okay, let me check this one. One Foot Flipper. Hello, everyone. Sorry for making it here late. One Foot, how you doing? I actually, earlier I said, I bet you One Foot will pop in. He's been to every one. I was talking about how you're like one of the only people having a good fourth quarter. One Foot Flipper. I make money on shipping all the time. It does not bother me in the slightest. Yeah, I don't. I mean, one of my favorite YouTubers is the biggest problem for me as far as telling people you should do that. And he doesn't say you should, he just does it, and he has whatever 70,000 followers. So it's out in the ether that when you like combine shipping on an item that you need to return that money to the buyer. No. If they didn't want to pay that amount of money, they could have negotiated that with you. They could have sent you a best offer. They could have sent you a message and said, hey, if I buy both these, do you think you could combine the shipping? Yes. Yes, I will. I will do that. I say yes to that 100% of the time. I will do that. Yes, I will do it. I will refund you an amount of the difference. I do not say how much, and I do not give them all of it. It's always a rounded number. So say by combining the shipping, I saved $5.89. I'm going to send them $4. Roughly. That's just off the top of my head, because I still have to buy the packing material, buy the box or poly bag and all that. And they don't need every single, I got fees, taxes on taxes, other taxes. One Foot Flipper. Oh, nope. Sorry. I already did that one. Old school flips in the house. I switched everything to calculated when they introduced ground advantage. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen it, but since you're just popping in, if you haven't been here the whole time, ground advantage is prices going down, priority, prices going up. So ground advantage, I think, I don't know if you guys could hear that. I've been having this wheeze in my breathing for months. And then I went to the doctors for it. And it was the one day there was nothing. So he's listening. He's like, no, I don't hear nothing. I was like, okay. Next day it was back. I was like, okay, cool. But where was I at? Oh yeah, ground advantage. Because today because with the boat parts, I had switched to everything I'm charging shipping for. So then I can run sales or take offers, and I never even have to consider, oh, it's a free shipper, I can't really go that low. And I'm listing stuff that's very, very cheap from this boat parts buy. Like I listed 2 items that were 99 cents plus shipping. I listed 10 items that were $1.20 plus shipping. And I guess to go in that a little bit, it's because my assumption, because I'll have probably roughly 2,000 boat parts SKU numbers, is that at some point, someone's going to buy a big thing, and they're also going to need this bolt to go with it, which actually I think this is like $14.99. But so I think combined shippings and all that, listing the cheap items is still going to work out for me. Kind of like, the big box store booksellers. They're hoping that somebody buys multiple and they're willing to take a loss on this or that. I'll never take a loss, but that's my gist there. But I had a sale today where they bought 2 like screw-on cap thingies, and it threw me for a loop because normally if I sell 2 first-class free shippers, under a pound free shippers, I combine the items, but I got paid for both full shipping amounts, and so I make like $4.75, $5 extra. And this one, because they combined them themselves, it was a multi-quantity list. They bought 2 of the same, and it got combined themselves by eBay. The combined shipping was actually already combined, and it threw me off a little bit. So I think I might do that just for that scenario, where when someone does go to buy multiple items, the price will be more attractive to them in the first place. I think I got my jumbled thoughts back together there. They're kind of all over the place all the time. If you watch, you know. If it wasn't for editing, you probably wouldn't be able to follow my train of thought. Let's see. Eric D, 3 words for you, 7 and 2. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The Lions are it's just for the most of you don't understand. And not everybody's a sports fan or in general. Most people have no idea of the concept of wanting so bad for something to happen. And every year you have hope and you have dreams and you have, possibility. And then every year of your life, it is crushed over and over and over again. So I woke up today's Monday, right? Yeah. I woke up this morning jovial because my Lions did something that they do not ever do. They won a game. At the end of the game, with time running out, I sat there, the field goal went through the uprights. I sat there for 5 minutes going, okay, there's a flag, right? Something's going to happen. This isn't how it goes. I don't know how to be the fan of a winning team. Since the Pistons in the early 2000s, I think they won it all in 2003, and I watched every game that season. It was awesome. For sports people, you get it. But I told somebody the other day, if somehow, I don't think this is going to happen, but if for some reason everything lines up and U of M wins it all and the Lions win it all, I am going to be insufferable for a year. I won't care. I am going to be the most annoying fan. You will not be able to talk to me about anything. I will just interrupt conversations to be insufferable about how my teams are the best. I hope that happens. Oh my, what a wonderful life that would be. Pepper J, timestamp this video for the wheeze. Yeah, I should send it to my doctor. This is what I was talking about. I went in there because I was like, I think I have an infection in my lungs because I would have trouble breathing and I would just get this like deep wheeze sound. I mean, just like if I'm not breathing, it would like at one point I got like a crackling noise that was happening. And of course I went to IMDb and it said I was having probably congestive heart failure. So I was like, oh great, I'm dying. But then I go to the doctors finally and they're like, nope, you're fine. I was like, okay, well, my body says I'm not. Old school flips. I stopped doing free shipping long ago. I did it to help my buyers. They never seem to take into consideration that I had to pay for shipping. Yeah. I love those. It's a $9.99 free shipper and they send you an offer of $5. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. If you want to pick it up, yeah, you want to do front door pickup, I'll sell it to you for $5. Great. Drive from 3 states away. Yeah, save yourself $5, cost yourself $200 in gas. That sounds awesome. $200 in gas. Yeah, right. Probably double that. Old school flips when they sent offers. That is. Yeah, exactly. As a Broncos fan, I understood that up until 1998. Yeah, actually we play the Broncos 2 weeks from now. I'm chalking that up as a win. And because I looked at the remaining schedule and basically because right now the NFC 10 wins, you're getting in. You're getting in the playoffs with 10 wins. We're 7 and 2. So to go 3 and 5 to finish the season, I think that's pretty easy. And also if we just beat the Vikings twice and win no other games, I think we'll still make it in. But I don't know how to it sounds sad, but I don't know how to be a winner. 1 foot flipper. I stopped doing free ships so I can send discounts or mark things down blindly. Yeah, that's why I did it with the boat parts. I want to be able to accept offers without thinking about it. If an offer comes in, accept it. Which, spoilers for the next boat parts buy video coming out. It's not as many items, but it was a lot more expensive items, and we listed a bunch of them today. And I mean, there was a part in there that was like 500 and something dollars for one part. I paid $580 for everything. It's so good. That's why I want everything up as quickly as possible, because I think it will be a flood of money. So that's like, I'm really, I videos may be sparse for a couple weeks, just because, I mean, when you have good stuff to list, which I was thinking, this stuff's just, it's going to be so long tail, it's not going to sell, you know, it's going to sell, but it's going to take forever. It's not going to sell to the spring. I'm a dummy. I live in a winter state. Like, it's winter right now, even though it's fall, it's winter. So I forget that places have boats year round. I forget that's a thing. I forget that people play golf all year round in other places. So if I can get it all listed quickly, I can get money funneling in quickly. Because if you have 2,000 SKUs and only 1% of that sells a day, that's still a ton of sales. If a 0.5% a day sales, that's a ton of sales. In addition to the other things I have listed. Old school flips. We will know about the Broncos after tonight. If we beat the Chiefs and then the Bills, maybe they turn some things around. That's a daunting task. Chiefs, then Bills. When we opened the season by beating the Chiefs at Arrowhead, everybody was making excuses. Oh, well, Travis Kelce's not there. We've had injuries at every position, every single game, multiple injuries. That's just football. But I was like, oh wow, we beat the champs opening in their house. I'm excited. We're in the playoffs. I don't want to like count my eggs, but we're in the playoffs. That's easy peasy. I'm looking more at like, can we get a bye in the playoffs, which is just unheard of. They did. They beat the Chiefs. I'm sorry, I don't follow all the other teams, but man, maybe the Chiefs are weak. Actually, the Bills have disappointed me this year. I like the Bills. If FJ Treasure's still in the house, they're Bills fans, but they let me down. I had a preseason bet on them that's not going to pan out. I had them at 11 or more wins, and I don't know. That ain't looking great. I mean, Josh Allen's a beast, but I don't know. Ain't looking great for him. Yeah, Taylor Swift got, and also, yeah, and then Travis Kelce, he said he wants to have a baby. So that's great too for me. You know, too tired to up with a baby all night, too tired to play. That sounds good. Actually, do rich people even have to do that? Do they like get up with their kids, or are they just like, yeah, let's have a baby, and then they just get like an in-house au pair who lives in the guest house and does, you know, like they don't even have a baby monitor. It's just in the guest house. Some lady comes in their house and takes care of it. If the Bills lose tonight, someone better be getting. Yeah, I mean, honestly, but they are losing me some money. It wasn't a big bet, but they are disappointing me greatly. But I do have a bet that it's going to be KC and the Lions in the Super Bowl, and I didn't make that bet because I actually, but by like gameplay, I just thought, okay, if the NFL is rigged, who would the NFL most want in the Super Bowl? They would want the Cinderella story, everybody's new favorite team, new guy on the block, the Lions, Dan Campbell saying silly stuff and sounding like a meathead, but he's actually pretty smart. And then Taylor Swift. I mean, that would make them, that would probably be blah, blah, blah. That'd probably be the most watched Super Bowl ever, and huge numbers. I mean, if the Swifties show up to watch the Super Bowl, I mean, add that to the people that already watch. So I put a small little quarter unit bet on that one, because I said if the NFL is rigged, they would definitely want this to happen. They have nannies. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a thing, because because you know you got your like Philip Rivers of the world who has what 30 kids, or what's his name that's played for almost every team, um, Fitzpatrick. He basically every team he gets traded to, he has a new kid in that state. So he has like 12 kids and they've been born in like 10 different states or something. Just insanity. But you know, if I had not infinite money, but if money wasn't like a thought where it is for most of these people, I mean, why wouldn't you want to have a bunch of kids? Like money is usually the thing that stops people. People that like kids and have kids, it's usually like, well, we can't really afford a fourth or a fifth or so on and so forth. That's usually the deal breaker. Not that you don't actually want another child. All right, well, it's 7 o'clock. Unless anybody's got some breaking news or questions or comments, I'm probably going to wrap it up here and go eat some dinner. If anybody is interested, I did, and I'm not, please don't do it if it's like, I never want to sound like I'm pandering, but I did have someone ask. And so I did open, what are they even called? Memberships. And so I made little gifts for the memberships. So you could like the $50 and Mo Money and all those. I thought that was kind of neat. So that does exist if it interests anybody. I should probably let people knowing. But let people know I'm tired and hungry. But that's a thing now. If that interests people, I'm not one of those people that it would interest, but it does exist. But anyways, thank you everyone for showing up. If you could hit the like though, because that's free. If you could hit the like on the way out, I do very much appreciate that. And I will catch you all next time.